Hi guys, today we're gonna be uh, trying to learn okay, or learning the translation techniques. Okay, my name is Roberto Ramos, and you can call me Mr. Ramos if you want to. And yeah, that's basically what it is for this topic of today. Now, the next thing here is, which is a brief uh, activity for today, which is what do you understand by technique, what do you understand by translation, and what do you relate or imagine with techniques of translation. All right. So, how can we first comprehend something before we understand first uh, the meaning of the words that we are using, right? So that's why we separate the word technique, the word translation, and then what do you think it is, or what do you imagine the technique of translation stands for? Okay. All right. Now that you already answered this, we're gonna be knowing what are the differences between what we think we know and what it actually is. Okay. So we generally relate strategy and technique to the same meaning, but actually, does this means the same, or like do we actually think it is the same? Because here in translation, there are some differences, even though in as a general concept can uh, mean almost the same. Well, here in translation, there are some differences between each other. Okay? So I'm gonna read this paragraph for you, and after this, I need you to just pay attention, so you can understand what are the difference between each other. Okay. So while the strategy determine the overall orientation of the translation by taking into account its defining features like audience, subject matter, text type, and linguistic and stylistic features. They are applied to the text as selection of the appropriate register, which is the preservation of a salient element of the source text, such as humor or irony, in the adaptation or non-adaptation of cultural aspects. Now, this is very, very, very important, which is strategies operate at the macrotextual level and are essential for maintaining the coherence of the translation. Now, we understand what is exactly the strategy here in the context of a translation. Now we're going to be knowing what is technique. Now, here it says techniques are uh, precise procedures employed at specific junctures within a text to address particular problems. They function as a microtextual level and are associated with cohesion, that is, with the appropriate chaining of the text's constituent units. So, now we understand what are the differences between uh, between both of those concepts, and where does it work? Okay, for example, here strategies work at the macrotextual level. Besides techniques, it works at the microtextual level, right? Now, this is for coherence for a strategy, and this is for cohesion, which both are different things, right? Now, uh, the point of this is not only to understand the differences, it's also to see how can we relate one of the words to different concepts now, or I mean here in translation, and that we need to note what is the difference between each one. So yeah, that's basically it. Okay, now we're gonna be continuing with this, which is translation techniques. What are those translation techniques? And what is almost the difference between each other? And well, here we have the the direct translation techniques procedures can be known as both. Literal, literal translation, borrowing, call, and neologism. Those are the four, um, not concept. I mean, the four techniques for the direct, for the direct translation techniques or procedure. Now we have this is only a general overview of the topic. So yeah, it's only this. Um, Furthermore, in further classes, we're going to be introducing a little bit more of each of the techniques we have here. So now we have the oblique translation techniques, which is the transposition, modulation, equivalence, and adaptation. Yeah. If we know there's here a word that actually tells us what is the purpose of each of the techniques. For example, direct stands for something that actually doesn't have any kind of filter, right? So it's kind of uh, easy to understand this kind of techniques. That's actually something that it is also literal translation, which is basically nothing that we need to do. It's just what what is this word in the main language, which is, for example, English, uh, and the gold language, which is Spanish, right? For example, agua, okay, which is water, right? That's basically the literal translation. And here we have the borrowing, yes, which is something that we find as part of uh, a word that can be, uh, it's kind of funny, but can be lent. Uh, so yeah, it can be known as a loan, you know, of a word. Then we have the call, yes, and finally the neologism, right, which is a new term. That's why neo and logism, or logos. Anyways, we continue with this, which is the oblique translation techniques. This is the transposition, the modulations, the equivalence, and the adaptation. Um, Here we can say that it is a part where we can find. I don't know if you can help me, teacher. Like, what can be the word for this? Or because it's not a mission, because a mission is like the
The
third.
oblique translation
Yeah.
techniques. Well, it's a category of techniques. Um, it's when you like fold the translation. I mean, fold the original text in order to produce a new one, the translation. And here we have transposition, elevation, equivalence, and adaptation. But yeah, I don't know if I fixed your question.
Yeah, it's basically that what the teacher also said and mentioned, and yeah, that's basically what it is. Sorry. Sorry for that. So we continue with this. The omission techniques. Um, it's basically whenever we have a word or a term, and we are doing some kind of let's say omissions or reductions, which is actually one of the techniques that we have here. We have the reduction, the condensation, the generalization, and the compensation, right? Finally, we have the addition techniques, which is another category for this, but those are for expansion, for amplification, specification, and compensation. And yeah, I know, maybe you don't understand this at all. I mean, it's not something that you might be understanding first, but in like in the next classes, we're gonna be finding what is this for. Now, the activity for today is just for a little bit of comprehension, just to know if we have already know something, or if we get just a little bit of uh, knowledge from this class. So, yeah, we need to first read each sentence and choose the most appropriate translation technique. Then you're going to be writing your answer in the third column, which is basically here. I don't know why you got that. Anyways, you need to write here the like the translation technique, yeah, and then your answer here in the third column. Yes. So yeah, just go ahead and just tell me whenever you want. Okay. Now, we already answered the little activity here. Okay. Now, what's our conclusion? Okay. This is the end of the brief class we have today. What's our conclusion? That we can differentiate between the strategy and the technique. We know that there are also four categories for each of the techniques. Yes. One of the main point, I mean, not main point, I mean, the main, um, well, yeah, I mean, main points that we can emphasize from this is that there is one that has the calm part and the positive part, right? Which is, or I mean, negative and positive part, if you want to see it like that, which is the addition and uh, the addition and the omission. Yeah. Now we also have the like the direct translation, yeah, and that oblique translation, right? And we also know that strategies and techniques work at a different level. Uh, for example, the strategies already we already know that strategies work at the macro textual level, and um, the techniques work at the micro textual level. Yeah, and yeah, if you want to from here, just write a little bit of something that you have learned today, and that should be